Hey everyone, I hope that your running is going well, and perhaps you're one of those runners who just enjoys getting out and running, participating and just finishing. But if you're looking for more than that, in other words, you want to get faster, you want to be able to run longer, or you have specific race goals that you're striving for, then you're going to need more than just random running. You're going to have a structured plan. And in today's video, I'm going to talk about the concept of periodization and how you can go about planning for your running goals. So stay tuned, we'll be right back with more right after this. Hey everyone, welcome back to another video here on Keep Running with BK, and another cold winter day. I'm bringing you along on a run. This is actually my second take for this week's video. I hope it works. I've been having some challenges with the camera in the cold weather, and I lost half the video yesterday, and the half that I had was cut in and out. But it is 23 degrees Fahrenheit. That is -5.5 degrees Celsius. So it is cold. Not as cold as some of my coworkers. One of my coworkers told me it's -35 degrees Celsius where they're working today. That is really cold. So I'm going to do my best to enunciate my words as my face is freezing. I didn't want to wear a mask because then that would be weird. You'd be looking at two eyes looking out the mask, and you wouldn't be able to see my mouth moving. It'd just be weird. But as I mentioned in the intro, any runner who wants to make significant improvements in their running has to have a structured plan. There has to be a method to the madness, and this is the idea of periodization that I'm going to talk about today. In general, the idea is to come up with a one-year training calendar. Now that may seem a little overwhelming, but the idea is we have a 12-month plan that we break down into smaller training cycles. Each training cycle has a specific goal, and each subsequent training cycle builds on the previous, and it generally follows a certain pattern, and that pattern is a stretch of base training that is just very general running, followed by a build-up phase where you are doing race-specific training, followed by a short taper where you're maintaining your race-specific intensity, frequency, but you're reducing the overall volume for a short period of time so that you hit your peak going into your goal race or into your goal racing season. Now, it's very likely that, like in my case, that you might go through that cycle twice in a given year. And the idea is that after each cycle, you're progressively getting better. You're progressively getting stronger. You're progressively building towards your goals. And so to illustrate that, I'm going to share from my own training plan for this year. And keep in mind, when you're doing this, it's customized to you. You're not chasing someone else's plan. You're not chasing someone else's time, their pace, their mileage. It's tailored to you, and you're only competing against yourself because you're trying to improve a better version of yourself. And I'll talk a little bit more about what that looks like near the end of this segment. So I'm starting my year off with a 3-month base training period. So in this training block, I have a specific goal for each month within that training cycle. So January, February, March, my goal is very general, very basic, primarily easy running with some strides and maybe hill sprints worked in there just to work on turnover. But my goal is to progressively and safely build my mileage up for when I shift to a more race specific running. So the goal is 35, 40, and then 45 miles per week in each of those months. Then when we get to April and May, I'll shift from general running to very race specific training. And if you watched my video earlier in the year on what my goals were for this year, in the spring I want to work on my 10K speed. So as I shift from general running, building that base fitness, I will shift to where 20% of my running during the week will be based on speed work tailored to improving my 10K speed. I may drop my overall weekly training volume a little bit. I'll adjust that based on how my body is feeling. And then come summertime, in June, July, and August, I will do another 3-month base building training block, where again my goal is to continue to build my training volume and get back to 40 miles a week. In June and July I want to get to 45, and then in August I want to get to an average of 50 miles a week. Now I've never run 50 miles a week in all the years that I've been recording my training, but that's one of my goals I'm trying to build towards. And so I'll do that during another base building phase, after which I will then transition to, again, very race specific training for a fall marathon. So once I decide on a specific race and I know what date it's going to be, I'll be able to work backwards from that, and I will put together probably something like a 12-week training plan for the marathon, where I'll start doing very race specific training to really zero in and lock in on that pace and make those finer adaptations towards my racing goal. And then I will follow that up with probably some very unstructured, easy, a little bit more relaxed recovery period around the holidays in November and December before starting all over again. One of the concerns that we as runners often have taking a break like that, which is important by the way to build into your training schedule, is give the body a little reprieve, allow it to get a little extra rest and recovery from the hard and consistent training. But there's a fear of, will I lose fitness? Yes, you're going to lose some of your fitness. You certainly aren't going to be able to keep that peak razor edge sharpness, but that's not realistic to maintain for a very long time anyways. That's why we were established building a base. We build up to peak fitness, we race for a very short window, and then we go back and rinse and repeat. One, so our bodies, one, because we do a lot of wear and tear on our bodies, and we need to give it time to recover and repair itself. We also need mentally and emotionally to refresh and recharge. But I thought it'd be interesting, since this is really a good opportunity to look back at where was I last year at this time. You know, I'm just coming off of the holidays in November, December. It was a lot less structured. I backed off of my training. I knew I was going to lose some fitness, but that first full week back in January of this year, how did that compare to January the first full week of January last year. To illustrate my point, first full week of January 2021, I ran 36 miles. Average heart rate of about 140, and I believe my average pace for that week was a little over 10 minutes per mile. I think it was like 10:01. Keeping in mind I'm doing base training, easy effort, and then doing the same thing to start this year. I ran 35 miles, pretty comparable, 35 and 36. 141 average heart rate, and then my average pace was 9:38. So just a little over 20 seconds improvement already, coming off of that extended recovery, unstructured period, getting back to base training. I'm already starting ahead of the game from where I was last year, and that illustrates again that progressive nature. When we follow these training cycles, we're progressively building on that could be a full 12-month macro period, that could be a 3-month micro period, say my January, February, March, base training block. But I'm building on and improving upon the previous cycle. And that's what periodization is all about. It's helping us to plan out our goals, plan our training so that we're building towards that goal in a systematic, proven method. You can't just go out and run whatever and then expect to hit certain goals. You're going to be disappointed. So those are the basics of periodization. I'm sure there's a lot more details to it, but I did want to just introduce the concept, talk about the basic breakdown of that, and encourage you to sit down if you haven't done so already and kind of plan out the year. What goal races are you training for? Or what running goals are you training for? And sit down and plan out your base training, plan out your build-up period where you shift from general to more specific training. And then I hope you'll come back and share with me how that went. I hope you share with me some of your goals. I hope you share with me how you do later on in the year. Hey, another quick reminder, if you're interested in a 2022 training log, I have a spreadsheet that I created. It's a great tool to track your running for the year. It's also a great tool to help plan out your 12-month training plan. So you can put the principles of periodization to work right away by using this as a worksheet to help you plan out your goals for the year. So if you'd be interested in that, send me an email at bkskeeprunning@gmail.com. You can find that again in the show notes below. I'll get that out to you. Well, I hope that you got something of value out of today's video. I really want to encourage you to think about this. If you like this type of content, if you like going to YouTube and watching my channel or other running channels, it's really important that you subscribe to these channels, or you click the like button, or you comment providing feedback of what you got out of it, what you liked, what questions you have. This really goes a long way to support the channel. It's free, it doesn't cost you anything, and I'm not fishing here for clickbait. I'm not looking for you to just click the button for clicking it. If this is of value to you, it sends a message to YouTube that this type of running content on my channel and other channels like it is important and of value, and it helps to expose it to more and more people. So please consider giving it a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, check out some of my other videos, and I really personally like when you share comments and tell me what you liked, what you got out of it, or what you'd like to hear more of. All those kind of things are really important. And at this time, before we go, I also want to just remind you of a couple things. First off, mark your calendars for Saturday, March 26th. That's when we're going to have our first virtual event for the channel. I'm going to be facilitating a virtual 5K prediction run. And all of us can run a 5K. And this type of event is not one that recognizes the fastest runner. There's plenty of races like that. This is the type of event where it really tests our ability to predict how fast we think we can run it, whether fast or slow. And then whoever comes the closest, in theory, is the winner. There's no prizes for this event. I am working on some ideas of maybe recognizing and acknowledging those who come the closest. But I hope that you will really consider participating in that event. Again, it's Saturday, March 26th. I'll be providing more details about the event in upcoming videos. I'd really encourage you to tell your running friends about it. I'd love to see if we can get more people involved just to have a good start to the virtual events. And again, this doesn't cost you anything to participate, or it won't cost you anything to participate. It is free. I think it'd be fun and something different. Second of all, if you're on Strava, I invite you to feel free to follow my training. But I also created a virtual Keep Running with BK running club on Strava. So that if you're on Strava, you can join the club and essentially follow each other's training. Feel free to comment and encourage one another, hold each other accountable, or invite others to hold you accountable to your goals and ask for questions and ideas. But it'll just be a way for us to interact more. It's one of my goals for the challenge is to build more of a sense of community this year. And I'll put a link to that below in the show notes as well. So I hope to see you over there. It's growing slowly. I think we currently have 7 people that have signed up, myself included. That's a good start. All right, folks. I hope, again, that you got some value out of this. I hope your running's going well. Stay safe, train smart by thinking about some of the things we talked about today. And as always, keep running. All right, later now. Progressively building on the previous cycle. That could be a full macro cycle of, say, a 12-month period.